Hello, so my name is Areej. I'm from Lebanon and I work in the cultural field since few years now. But my background wasn't in culture in the beginning. I studied communication and I worked in communication in different agencies. And then this is where I started to do my own cultural project that I always liked and I always wanted to do. So I started with getting involved in concerts, organizing concerts, creating concepts for concerts, gathering artists around the question of the first question was actually classical Arabic music, and I wanted to spotlight on it and create projects around it. And the question was very recent from the 20th century, the songs and the music of the 20th century. Then my studies went further. I did a master's in conception of cultural projects, and I started working in older stages, which are the music of the 19th century. And this is where my question became more about what is authentic music of the Levant. The need to identify the classical Arabic music was for me an older question because the classical Arabic music was pretty much related to political propaganda that was suggesting this Arab unity. And then when every one of us go further in the research, we directly bump into more precise questions that are related to each region of the Arab world. So I was interested in the region I live in, the Levant, that is Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and also we have a lot of common things, cultural things with Iraq today, that is Mesopotamia. And I feel that this question is older than the Arabic, it's the root of the Arabic music because it happened before the division of the countries. So when all of this region was under the Ottoman Empire. And this is where the research starts, and this is where I created the organization. I co-founded it, the organization I manage today, which is Mazaf, and that is very concentrated on the question of authentic music of the Levant. What does it mean, and how can we create today music that is based on the roots but that is not old? If we try to reproduce traditions or try to conserve tradition, what are we trying to do? And this is a big question. For us, for the organization, our initiative, we don't want to conserve traditions as to showcase them as when you go into a museum and you just look at traditions. We don't have an interest in that, and we think that this is how traditions die. But instead, what we propose is to dig in these hidden traditions that we, for so many reasons, instability and wars reasons, we started losing, and to dig and discover these traditions, to take what is good of them, and to try to be modern with our creations, but not without any root. My interest in the cultural cafes and cultural, let's call them houses of coffee, like they were used to be called. It started a few years back when I started doing something that everyone thought it was new, but it wasn't. So I started doing this cultural program for a local coffee shop in Beirut and Hamra area. It started with the habit of drinking coffee that it is so that it started in Yemen. Coffee was made in Ethiopia, but it was first mixed and drank the way we know it now in Yemen. And from Yemen, apparently with the trade line that we used to have from the Levant area to the Gulf and Yemen, we all know it was it's one of the very old and very rich cultures in the region. Coffee arrived to Damascus. And when coffee arrived to Damascus, the profession of making coffee got a nickname, and with it, it got like people started not only to go buy, so it was not a coffee shop, but it was a coffee house, because people start not to go just buy coffee and take it and drink it, but also to stay there. And this is where a public space for like chat and people talking together and discussing what is happening every day with them, it found a place. And then after this era, it's from Damascus that the first coffee shop opened in Istanbul, for example. It happened like, and it is so that it's one person from Damascus and one other person from Aleppo who opened it in Istanbul, and it was like called the House of Knowledge. Then in Damascus, and after Damascus, it went to Jerusalem, where like in the 16th and 17th century, they used to do additional things, not only go and chat, but coffee houses started to offer services. Like they started to offer cards. People can play cards, or people can play chess in the coffee shop, which makes like people come to have a schedule that every day they should go to the coffee house and like do some other activities. And then they started to host what is called the Karakos, which is someone who present like a small act or theater, and like a small theater act to the people in the coffee shop. And also they used to host Hakawati, the storytellers. The Hakawati is someone very known in the neighborhood. He comes to the coffee shop at night and he will tell you siyar. Siyar means the story of someone. In addition to Hakawati that were invited all over the region to tell stories, some musicians started to go to the coffee shops and to perform. Like in the 18th century, they can go and like on a night play oud or play qanun, or also a belly dancer can come and dance. And this is how the coffee houses became more diversified, with a lot of different audience coming and attending like cultural activities. The Marsad project is between my organization in Lebanon, an organization in Tunisia, an organization in Alexandria, and Racine in Casablanca, Morocco. So the idea is that Racine has been doing this États généraux de la culture for like 4 years now. And my organization locally, we started like 1 year and a half ago to because one of our aims is to do some music activities in the region, like not only in the capital, not only in the big cities also. So we thought that we don't really know what the situation of the region is and what they call culture, because it could be very local for them and it could be imposed by us. And what we want is to have something organic that they can create and we can adapt to their needs. So this is where the idea of like try to map and try to see who does what in Lebanon without exclusion of the camps, the Syrian and Palestinian camps. That is very important for us, because like the Palestinian camps are there since like 1948, so it's like 70 years now, and the Syrian camps are there since 2011, so it's been a while. And I don't believe that culture can be without these like people, because they are contributing in our culture and we also share the same like history. So this is where we started doing some interviews in the regions to identify some local partners that can be that can work with us to all of us understand better what we can do all of us together. And this is where the internal idea of networking came, because we thought that it won't make a sense that Maza, for example, goes from Beirut to a region and like impose something. And it would be better if we have a local partner who can really ask us, do you know how to do this? Then come and offer this, and we offer back to you that. So to know who can do what. But also it's important to exchange to see what future opportunities can come up from such a map. Like if you want to connect the artists that are on the map in this region with artists who are in other places in the world, how they can reach each other, how can they contact each other without having to pass by someone, like directly on a map. And I think it will open like a lot of doors and dimensions for the local communities everywhere.